All right. So, hello, everybody. This is another halftime show. And this time I'm watching the game between Brentford and Aston Villa. So far, it's been an entertaining game. And the score line is 1-all, 1-1. And yeah, where do I start? Well, I guess I will start by telling you what this is. This is my regular halftime show, which I do normally during a halftime of a football match, of a Premier League football match. And I'm doing this live on my Instagram as well as on my YouTube. It's not live on the YouTube though. So let's get started, shall we? Brentford have signed a new goalkeeper on loan. So if you sign a player, if you sign a player, in this case, it's a goalkeeper, that means you sign a contract with that player. That means this player becomes a new player that will start playing for your team. You buy that player, okay? But if you sign a player on loan, that kind of means that you borrow the player. You still have to pay for it, but that player is not going to stay at your team, at your club. That player is there only for the time being. That player is there only temporarily. That player is there only on loan, which means you borrow or you borrow a player from someone else. They lend you a player. This one is Jonah Lossell from Midtjylland, and the loan has got a clause that Brentford have an option to make the deal permanent. Okay, so that's to sign a player on loan. Then Ramsey bursting to the left. So if you burst, that means that you run with the ball with great pace. You kind of sort of get in at a speed. You burst. To burst has a lot of different meanings, but in football it means it's basically a sudden increase in speed. Yeah. So there are some players in the Premier League who are really good at bursting into the box, let's say, or bursting with the ball. And one of the players that I'm thinking of is Declan Rice playing for West Ham United. What a great player that is. And his fantastic ability to burst with the ball is quite, well known. Now, Cash has got room to run into the box. So, if you have got room, obviously, you might know the word room as the that area where in your house that's sort of enclosed by walls and the ceiling and the floor, right? That's also a room. But in when you talk about football and you use the word room, it has a meaning of space. So if there is an empty space and you run into it, then we could also say you run into, or you are looking for room to run into. Okay, so that's that. Chance for Inks. Oh, a slick finish from Danny Inks. 1-0 from Aston Villa. That was a well deserved goal, by the way, because Aston Villa had been the better team when this happened. And when you describe a goal as a finish, that pretty much means that it's a very skillful way of scoring the goal. A slick finish, kind of effortless and smooth. Yeah, very nicely done. And also the commentator added that it was a trademark finish from Danny Inks. A trademark finish. What's a trademark finish? What's a trademark? A trademark is like a name or a symbol on a product by a company, and basically you have got it's kind of protected by copyright, right? So that means other companies cannot use your trademark, but we also use it to describe something a football player does. And if it's in this case a trademark finish, that means this is the kind of finish that Danny Ings always uses or always goes for when he scores his goals. It's a typical Danny Ings finish. It's a trademark finish. Yeah, I hope that's clear. Um, Also, the commentators said that the signs were there for Villa. The signs were there. So signs, again, this word has a lot of meaning. As we have already said, you can sign a player, for example. Yeah. Then you've got the zodiac signs, like Aries and Capricorn and Pisces and all that. And you can also say the signs were there. This means this was going to happen. You could expect this to happen. It's not a surprise that Aston Villa scored after all those chances they have had, after playing so well. They have been dominating the game. They had been dominating the game until that point. Yeah, so the signs were there. So it was meant to happen. Yeah, it was a deserved goal for Aston Villa. Okay, they deserved to go 1-0 up, and that's exactly what happened. Aston Villa were definitely the better team. Steven Gerrard is an admirer of Thomas Frank. So Steven Gerrard is the current Aston Villa manager. Obviously, he left Rangers not long ago and became the new Aston Villa um, gaffer. Gaffer is another word for manager. It's like the boss, yeah, the new boss. And he is apparently an admirer of Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank is, on the other hand, a Brentford manager. And if you are admirer of someone, if you admire someone, it means that you have a lot of respect for them and that you kind of look up to them. Yeah. I think the reason Steven Gerrard looks up to Thomas Frank is because, first of all, Steven Gerrard is much younger, less experienced as a manager. And also, Thomas Frank is known for his um, different kind of approach to sort of scouting players. Yeah. So Brentford is known for not sending their scouts out to matches as any other team would do, but instead using some kind of analytical data to look their players up, which is really, I think, really cool way of doing things. And whether it works or not, I think only time will show. But I think Brentford, considering they are a newly promoted team, they have been doing pretty well. They have been doing pretty well in the Premier League this season, and I don't see any reason why they should go down. I don't think they will get relegated. They're doing a great job. Although, admittedly, in this match, Villa were the better team. I say were because something happened later on, but we will get to that in no time. For now, Villa is a man down. So there was a situation when one of Villa players had to get a treatment. So if you had to be treated for I don't know what, something happened, potential injury. So basically, the player walks off the pitch behind the line, and then that player gets a treatment. And as a result of that, Villa were one man down, which is a temporary situation. That's why the commentator used the phrase "for now." For now means that it's just until that player comes back onto the pitch, right? So also, if you are one man down, it could be for two different reasons. One of them is this: when one of your players is getting a treatment, a medical treatment, and that's just temporary. But obviously, if one of your players gets sent off, yeah, is shown the red card, then obviously you are a man down as well, and that's permanent. Well, permanent until the end of the game, right? Okay. Martins did find target. This is a funny. I just like this sentence because it sounds really funny. There is actually a player called Target playing for Aston Villa. I think it's spelled with double T actually, but obviously there's also the word target. So target is something you're trying to hit, right? When you I don't know when you play darts, maybe let's say, or if you're shooting if you are an archer and you are trying to hit the target. Yeah. But Martins did find target. In this case, it's a player. So if you find a player, it means you managed to pass. You managed to pass the ball to that player. So Martins did find target. Good control from the Villa player. Not sure it was intentional. So Villa, I think we are talking about target now. Good control from the Villa player. Good control means that he managed to sort of, when you control the ball, you manage to keep it down. You manage to keep it under control. I'm not really doing a good job of explaining this, am I? Yeah, well, so you can use your feet skillfully in order to sort of tame the ball. Could be another good word to use here. Some players use their chest. Then we say you can chest the ball as well, but usually you use your feet to do that. Good control from the Villa player. Not sure it was intentional. That was an interesting addition from the commentators there. So if something is not intentional, that means you don't do it on purpose. So unintentional, you can. I think you can score a goal unintentionally. You could score a goal and then it could be described as an unintentional goal. That means you didn't actually mean to score, which can happen in football too. Cornell's miscuing his back pass. So this is an interesting verb, to miscue. That verb comes from snooker actually, and that's when you use the cue. The cue is like the long thing. The long thing that you use to hit the balls with in snooker. What snooker is? It's like it's like similar to billiard, let's say. And uh, if you miscue it, it means that you don't touch or you don't hit the ball with the cue correctly. But it's also used as a metaphor in other sports. Yeah. So it means that whenever there's an occasion that a player makes a mistake when they are trying to hit the ball or kick the ball or catch the ball, even if they are a goalkeeper, and they sort of scuff it, they sort of mess it up, they miskick it, then we can say that they miscue the pass. I think Cornels miscued his back pass, and that means he wanted to pass the ball to the keeper, but instead it went sideways, and then it resulted in a corner kick actually, because there was no one to pass, or there was no one to take the ball. Yeah, so it just went off the pitch. So miscue the ball, to miscue the ball, an interesting to miscue the pass in this case, an interesting expression for sure, coming from snooker. Okay, Traore almost took it in his stride. So Traore tried to control the ball, and it was a difficult situation for him to do it. To be fair, he was unlikely to succeed actually. And the commentator said he almost took it in his stride. So almost means that it didn't actually happen in the end. He didn't manage it. But if you take something in your stride, it's an idiom which means to deal with something difficult or unpleasant in a calm and accepting manner. So if you take something in your stride, that means it's a difficult situation for you to deal with. You can imagine someone very skillful, a Brazilian player, or I don't know, Lionel Messi could take it in his stride, could sort of manage to tame the ball, deal with it in a calm manner, even though it's a difficult situation to deal with. Brentford didn't score in their last two Premier League matches and are trailing in this one. Well, that was something the commentators said. They didn't score in their last two Premier League matches and they are trailing in this one. So if you're trailing, it's another way of saying you are losing the match. So if you're trailing in a match, you are losing it. You could be trailing against your opposition. So, for example, in this case, Brentford were trailing against Aston Villa, meaning Aston Villa were beating them at that point. But it didn't take very long, did it? But there's one more phrase. So much evidence out there that Brentford are struggling in the first half. uh, Evidence is another word for proof. And struggling, if you're struggling, it means you are finding something difficult. So obviously, Brentford were finding it difficult to play in the first half. So they were struggling. However, they managed to equalize. Uh, it was, I don't know, was it like 42nd minute or something like that? There was not much time left just before the first half finished. Uh, Wissa, his name is Wissa. Wissa managed to equalize, and what a brilliant finish that was! Back on the mark for Brentford. Wissa back on the mark for Brentford. So if you are back on the mark, it kind of means you are back on the score sheet. You're on the mark, it means you score if you're on the mark. Yeah. So he's back on the mark. What a finish. The first touch is immaculate. Immaculate is an adjective which means kind of. I think you can use this to describe your room. If it's immaculate, it's kind of spotless, it's very neat and tidy. And but in this case, it means perfect. Yeah? It was a perfect first touch. So again, we are talking about the way the player managed to control the ball with his feet before the finish, which was, by the way, a world class finish. I think it was a top corner finish and fantastic goal. Both these goals were very nice, despite this being quite a low profile game. Brentford Aston Villa. I think it's an interesting game, and I'm about to watch the second half, which has already started. I believe we are already like 10 minutes into it, but yeah, the visitors won't be happy with the score line, provided this is still the score line, because the visitors, meaning Aston Villa, were the better team, and they were the better side. And the visitors, so visitors are the side that are playing away from home. So in this case, visitors are Aston Villa players. Okay, so that will be it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will speak to you